This next presenter, he's a young guy, and I'll tell you what he has accomplished in such a short period of time. I'd like to introduce you to Adrian Chenault. Now, Adrian, he was formerly the Senior Director of International Finance. I mean, he can't be more than 12 years old, but he'd already had such a weighty career. He was an equities analyst at the Southern Texas Money Management. What even that means, I don't know. Some big title that says he's super wicked smart. To support that, he graduated summa cum laude from Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas. So again, another not just book smart guy, but street smart guy. Adrian is the CEO and co-founder of what is called contact mapping. I'm a part of contact mapping. I think contact mapping is one of the most brilliant ideas, because what it does is it helps design you for greater success when it comes to interpersonal relationships. What it does is it tracks all of the people in your life and the important things that are happening in their life, where you met them, how you met them, the context of your conversations. All you have to do is just keep it updated. And I'm telling you, this thing will make you a rock star in other people's eyes. Great for team building as well, because you can track your team and make sure that you are up to date on what's going on in your team's life as well. When you have that level of connection with your team and with the people in your life, you become a rock star. And contact mapping is a brilliant idea, and it has come to life because of Adrian. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the time over to Adrian. Pay attention, because this is awesome.
Rob, thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank you for putting this amazing event together. Thanks to both you and Courtney. What an incredible group of people that you have assembled together today, and I'm even more honored to get to be a part of it because of the cause that this is all supporting. So thanks to both of you. Thanks to every one of you who have chosen to support this and to spend your Saturday with us today. It's just an awesome opportunity for you to grow and for us each to level up and to network and to grow as business people and as human beings. And so I'm really thankful to get to be a part of this together with you today. My name's Adrian Chenault, as Rob said. I'm the founder of a company called Contact Mapping. And while I am not a born network marketer, I feel like I upbringing. So I am the son of a guy named Tom Chenault, who has been in network marketing probably since before most of you were born. And he is somebody who I obviously admire a great deal, but the real reason that I admire him so much is not because of the success that he has had in his professional career. It's because of the way that he treats people and the way that he has been able to create incredible connections and make an incredible contribution to the world through his way of networking and his way of building relationships with everybody from people who are at the absolute top of the game, whether that's in network marketing or in tons of other professions around the world, or whether it's somebody that is at the very bottom, right? Somebody who is struggling with addiction, somebody who is, really struggling to make ends meet and needs help. His heart is really much more for that kind of person than it is for the people at the very top, but he has a huge heart for every one of them. And so when I was a young person, when I was in first or second grade, my parents got divorced. And so my parents were, I was back and forth between their houses. And one of the things that led my dad into network marketing as a profession was that was something that gave him the ability to earn a living while being able to be at home with my sister and I, and eventually my stepbrother. And so I got to watch the way that he carried himself and the way that he built his business as his kid growing up. And I absorbed many of those principles and his way of doing things through that. And so I like to say that I have like a passenger seat MBA in networking from just listening to hours and hours and hours of, my dad's half of conversations on his cell phone. I think if there's an all-time leaderboard for the most all-time minutes used on a cell phone, that my dad would be very near the top of that list. And so I watched him doing this. I'm the oldest kid. As I was doing that, I saw all the success that he was having. I saw the way that he went about doing things. But, number one, those were really big shoes to fill. And number two, I think as an oldest kid, a lot of times you have, this sense of, I need to go and I need to do things my way, or I need to go and make my own mark in the world. And so that's what I did. So I grew up watching him having success in network marketing. I was always a very studious kid. He's kind of got this big kind of crazy personality. I'm a little bit more, I kind of color inside the lines. And so I went a different direction. I went off to college. I went and studied finance. And I studied really hard. I got great grades, and I came out of college going, okay, I'm going to go and, I want to succeed in that sort of more traditional sense. And so I went and I worked for an investment fund for about 3 years. And then after doing that for 3 years, I found I wanted to be more a part of building something. And so I went to work for a technology company where I spent 7 years working for them and climbing the ranks. And a crazy thing happened. We went down these very different paths, but what happened in my life was really a mirror image of the principles that my dad had taught me. And I didn't even I wasn't totally conscious that I was doing this at the time. But what happened was I became successful in the corporate world, not so much a function of being the best spreadsheets person or the person who was, the smartest finance geek or anything like that. My key to success was that I took those principles that I had learned from my dad about how to treat people, how to develop powerful personal connections and relationships, and I applied that in the corporate world. And so finance, typically the guy who's the geeky person, crunching the numbers, hiding behind the spreadsheet, and many of my counterparts were. And what set me apart was that I, instead of doing that, went out into the business. I built relationships with the people in sales, the people in marketing, the people in operations, the people all over the business who I needed things from and who I was there to actually support. But I did it in a much more relational way. And that allowed me to create these connections and build these bridges. And it made me influential in the company because I was able to get things done that others of my teammates couldn't because I had relationships. And when people out in the business needed something from the finance organization, I was the first person that they reached out to because I was the person they had the relationship with. And so that led on to me going and spending time in an international part of the business. And I got moved around to a bunch of international locations because I became known as the person who could build bridges and could create connections and harmony across the organization. And that led to me having a role leading all of finance for everything outside the United States for a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company at the age of 32. And that's another story for another day. I actually was way in over my head, but it was incredible. And the reason that all happened was because of the power of personal connection. And so the topic that I want to share with you today is just that, the power of personal connection and how you can apply this to your business. So rewind just a second back to that moment. I'm 32 years old. I'm living in Zurich, Switzerland. I had, ostensibly climbed the ladder. I was incredibly stressed out. And I came to this realization that while I had achieved what I thought I wanted, it wasn't really what I was after. What I cared about the most was those relationships that I had developed along the way. And we reflected, my dad and I, who, my dad is very much my mentor. And, about 10 years prior to that, he had coined this phrase, contact mapping, as a philosophy to describe what it is that he had done to have such great success and impact through relationships. And on Christmas Eve 2016, a epiphany moment, sort of lightning bolt struck me, and I realized that we needed to take that philosophy of contact mapping that has worked so incredibly well in network marketing, that had worked so incredibly well in the corporate world, and works in everything that I do, and take that and turn it into something that could have a tremendous impact by distilling those principles and making them simple for anyone in the world to use, whether you're in network marketing, whether you're an accountant, whether you are a small business owner or a personal trainer or a real estate agent, or no matter what it is that you do, that these simple principles that are timeless are the things that make all the difference. So some of you that are watching with us today, you've been around business for a long time. Maybe you remember back in the day, I don't have one of these. I need to actually go and buy one. There's these things called Rolodexes. They used to be these little spinning things that you would put a business card in and you could put some notes about somebody, and that was like your address book back in the day before the phone. And there were these systems called like the index card system, and you would actually take notes on the people that you were talking to, and you would put them into an index card box that had a day for every day of the month, and it would remind you of when you were supposed to follow up with that person. And there were these this is like Dale Carnegie's 7, how to win friends and influence people, 7 habits of highly effective people, like the old school stuff. These are principles that have been used for decades and decades and proven to be highly successful. And an interesting thing happened with the advent of all of this modern technology over the last 20 years. These timeless things that really work well almost got forgotten in favor of these things called CRMs, customer relationship management systems. And the problem with CRMs is that they kind of forgot the R and they mostly forgot the C, and it's pretty much just an M. It's a management system. And it's all about digital touches and all this automation and all this stuff. And there's a place for that. There's nothing wrong with drip campaigns and funnels and all this kind of stuff. But if you don't actually build a connection with your customer, if you don't actually build a connection with your prospect, if you're not actually building relationships, I don't think the rest of that stuff works. And so what we are proving in the world is that we are bringing back those timeless principles of powerful personal connection in a way that brings about all of the goodness of what lives inside your cell phone, that has all this incredible technology and all this amazing stuff that you can do, but we do it in a way that's simple and easy. And so what I want to share with you today is some tips and some principles for how you can create more powerful personal connection in whatever business you're doing, and why it's so important for you to do so and to place an emphasis on doing that now. So here's the fundamental frame that I want to give to you behind this. People want to join you much more than they necessarily care about your product or your service or what you're offering. If you're in network marketing, there are literally thousands of other people, if not more, who are offering the exact same product or service that you are offering. That's like the name of the game, right? And so if that's true, then it must be that there's a reason why that person would want to join you or buy from you versus anybody else, versus go try to find that same product on Amazon, versus Google who's the top earner in your company or whatever and go choose them instead. And the reason why they're going to do that is because they feel a connection with you. The unique selling opportunity that you really bring to the table, it's not your company, as great as your company is. It's not your product, as great as your product is. The only unique thing that you are selling is you. And that's great. That's great news, because it's one of a kind. You are limited edition number 1 of 1. And what you need to do, and what I'm going to help you to do, is to start to grab your power inside of that and to start creating connection that is extremely organic, that feels natural to you because it's true to who you are, it's true to your authentic self, and it's going to have you start attracting more relationships and more customers and more business partners, and it's going to help you get I believe you can create whatever results you want in any arena in your life through your network. It's your most valuable asset, and it's really the only asset you need in many ways. And so what does that look like? Well, it actually starts with getting out of your own way. So the way that it starts is being able to set aside for a moment whatever agenda you have of, I want this person to buy my product, I want this person to join my business, I want them to do this or that or the other thing. It's setting aside for a moment the needs that you have of, gosh, I gotta make this thing work, man. Like my spouse has been telling me that this is, that if I don't make some money soon, that I can't keep doing this, or, my rent check's due in 3 days and I don't have enough money in the bank right now, or whatever it is. It's setting aside those the neediness that you have, whatever that looks like, and it gets you into instead what are the agendas and what are the needs and what are the pain points in the other person's life, to really truly get curious and empathetic about what that other person has going on. And inside of that, we have developed a thing called the coffee shop interview. And the coffee shop interview is this simple but amazingly powerful set of principles. And what it basically says is that exactly that you are going to suspend reality for a short period of time to really get into the needs of someone else and understand who they are, what they need, what they're about, and then to figure out if you can help that person. And you're going to figure out if you can help that person. And in some cases, you're going to go, this person's probably not a fit for me. They don't, I sell this juice and they, they're in great shape or great health or whatever it is, right? They may not need what I have, and that's okay. It's actually a good sign if you're identifying that in some scenarios, somebody doesn't need what you want, what you happen to sell, but they have other needs in their life. But you're going to get inside of who they are, and you're going to get genuinely curious, and you're going to learn where the pain is in their life, and you're going to try to find a way to be helpful to them. And one of the ways that you're going to be helpful to them in a lot of cases is that you are going to identify this person could really use what I have to offer. That's obviously amazing. We want to be able to do that. And so in some cases, that's going to be the case. In other cases, it might be, I know somebody that you really need to talk to who could help you to get where you want to go right now. And you're laser focused on going in this one direction, like you're trying to build this other business right now. And if I try to invite you to go take a look at my business, like you're not going to have ears for that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to help you get where you want to go. And I'm going to create a meaningful connection there that's going to have you think well of me, that's going to have you see me as a valuable resource and a valuable partner to you, and somebody who is in your corner rooting for you to get what you want out of life. And that is really the crux of it. The crux is to use this coffee shop interview, to use more powerful conversations, to be able to diagnose in any person that you meet, in any conversation that you have, where does this person have needs? Where do they have pain? What are their dreams? And then how can I help them to get there? And in many cases, you're going to go, I need to introduce them to what I'm offering, but now you're able to do so in a way that is not generic, that is not just about what you like about what you have to offer or why you're doing it, but it plugs directly into who they are and what their pain is or what their dreams are and what they need. And so you're going to use this coffee shop interview, and we have this as an ebook. It's $1 on Amazon. So I'd love for you to go and check that out because I think it's going to be a big help to you. You can go to contactmapping.com/CSI and grab that. But you're going to use that coffee shop interview to develop that conversation and to learn who that person is. And then the second thing that you're going to do is you are going to capture the information about that person that you have learned in that conversation, because that person is giving you essentially the treasure map to their heart. They are giving you what they need, who they are, what they care about, what matters to them. And you are now able to, you've been entrusted with that incredibly valuable, important information about this beautiful human being that you now can carry with you forevermore to be able to use to help them get what they want, and that you can use to help them to be able to hear what they need to hear from you in a way that serves them. And so when you recognize that there's a need for that person that is something that you can help meet with whatever it is that you have to offer inside of your business, what are you going to do? You are not going to spring that on them in this initial conversation when they share that with you, because that experience of sharing is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly connectional, and it's a very vulnerable, special place. And so when someone does that with you, it's like when your spouse maybe, they really open up and they really share about something that's bothering them or is hurting or is challenging for them. If right in that moment you immediately go, well, I could solve all that problem for you, and you just immediately start giving them all this advice, what do? Immediately the wall goes up. They didn't want to be fixed in that moment. They wanted to be heard in that moment. So you have to separate out that moment of true authentic sharing from the moment where you go back and you try to serve, because if you try to do those two things in the same space, it can actually invalidate the emotional connection that was just made. So somebody shares something with you where they have something going on with their health. They are, making plenty of money, but they have no time to spend with their kids. They're really stressed out, like I used to be in my corporate job. They don't have enough money. Their hours have been cut, or maybe they've been furloughed as part of what's been going on in 2020, or whatever that is. So they share with you those things, and you're going to listen, and you're going to be empathetic, and you're going to love them in that moment, and you're going to make a note of that and go, okay, I think I could really help this person. And so you're going to wait a day or 2 days or 3 days, depending on what you think is appropriate based on that relationship. But you're going to wait at least a day. And you're going to go back to that person and you're going to say, hey, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you. I really appreciated our conversation. I really enjoyed getting to know you. And it was just so cool of you to share so openly about your life with me. And I just want you to know I've been thinking about you. I just been thinking about our conversation from the other day and how you were mentioning to me that your knees hurt, that you're so stressed out with just having to work so many hours, that money has really been a struggle lately, or that you're really trying, your car's broken down and you're trying to get a new car and it just doesn't feel like you can quite afford it right now. Whatever that is, I've been thinking about that specific thing that you shared about me in this conversation, and I think I might have an idea for you. That is really powerful. I think I might have an idea for you. And what's going to happen when you do that is they're going to feel incredibly validated because you really listened to them and you really paid attention to what they had to share with you. You cared enough about them that you've been thinking about them, and you have an idea to offer. An idea is a very simple and comfortable thing to receive, right? It's not, I have the solution to your problem. It's not, I've got some advice for you. It's not, I have an opportunity for you. All those things send up red flags. They can put up a barrier where they get worried about what's coming next. And so don't do that. Just say, I have an idea for you. Would you be interested in hearing it? And obviously they're going to say, of course, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you thinking about me. What's your idea? And you're going to say, hey, I know somebody who has been in really similar shoes to you and who has managed to create success for themselves in their life on their own terms outside of, they started off doing it on the side of their job, and because they've been so successful at it, now that's what they do full time, and their passion is helping other people. Or, I know about a doctor who has helped hundreds of thousands of people that have really similar challenges to what you're facing right now, and they actually have really helped me too, or they've really helped my friend, or whatever. I heard about this thing, and I think it could be really a big help for you. Would you be interested if I could share some more information about that with you? So you're going to ask again a second question. Ask them, would you be interested in learning more? You give them just that little bit of, here's kind of what the idea is. Would you be interested in hearing a little bit more about that? And all but the most closed off of people, if you did the interview right, if you set it up right, 95% of the time, again, the person's going to say, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to hear about doing that. And that is where you now have the ability to connect them to whatever tool or whatever mentor or whatever resource within your business, within what you're offering, that is going to be able to help them to do what they want to do. It's going to help to move them forward. But it feels connectional, it feels appropriate, it feels in context of the conversation. And so all of those things, you have honored the relationship and the connection that you built every step of the way. So even if they say no, you go, no worries at all. I totally get it. You got going on whatever you got going on, or you got too much on your plate right now. I totally get it. And then you immediately pivot straight back to whatever else you talked about in that conversation about what they love, right? So you go, anyway, enough about that. What's going on with the baseball game with your kid this weekend, or whatever it is, right? You just move straight out of there, and you have maintained a powerful relationship. You have acted like a true professional. You keep the door open that they may want to revisit that conversation later on. And lastly, you are keeping the door open that you could go back and ask that person for a referral. You could go back and ask that person at a later time to be able to go, that's totally cool. I get it. this is what I'm up to. And, if you know anybody who is trying to, earn a little extra income on the side, or anybody who is specifically dealing with this kind of health issue, or somebody who's looking to buy or sell a home in the near future, or whatever it is, right? You're able to do that, and they didn't feel trapped. They did, it was just part of a conversation that is a broader conversation about I care about you and I'm developing relationships. And so that is the essence of what I want to share with you today, that if you can begin this habit of creating just that little bit of connection, right? I'm not talking about going around in circles forever and ever and getting stuck in the friend zone and not ever cutting to the chase. But if you can just think about back to maybe earlier in life, some of these best memories for me are from college, where you're on a college campus, you're all hanging out together, and you end up meet this new friend, and it's like you just you have this amazing conversation. It's all in one conversation, and you feel like you really got to know that person, and it's like all of a sudden you're friends for life. It can happen in one conversation that you learn somebody's story. You can do it powerfully. You can do it in a short period of time, but it's about getting authentic and about getting heart to heart. It's about the quality of the conversation, not the quantity of the conversation. But you do that, and from that point forward, you have this ability to use that relationship in the best kind of way, a win-win, authentic kind of way, to be able to create this boundless resource of relationships and connections that allow you to accomplish anything that you want in life, that make you a resource to other people, and that allow you to be the kind of person that you want to be in the world, right? You think about the people who you really admire in your community, maybe mentors or somebody, a coach growing up, or people like that. Those people are people that care about you, that you can trust, that they make you feel safe, and that you feel like you belong. So those are the 4 essential components of somebody who is truly able to offer great value, is that they make you feel safe, you feel like you can trust them, you feel like you belong, and of course I just forgot the 4th one. So hopefully you took notes on that first time. I'll think of it in a second. But that sense of that somebody is, they're part of your tribe because of the way that you treat them, that's a person that you're going to go back to again and again. And no matter what you do in your life, whether it's network marketing, whether it's any other business, whether it's Fortune 500, corporate America, no matter what it is, being that kind of person is the kind of behavior that is going to create success in whatever you do. And it's the kind of behavior that is going to have people not just join you in one company or sign up and buy something from you only to be frustrated and annoyed with you later and never want to talk to you again, or just kind of disappear into the ether. You're going to create people that are going to be advocates of whatever you do for life. You're going to create people who want to pick up your phone call and who are interested in whatever it is that you're doing because of who you are. And that is the most powerful success principle I can offer you, is that if you can become that kind of person in the world, that you can accomplish anything. And it doesn't take being the slickest talker in the world. It doesn't take being perfectly polished. It doesn't take any of those things. What it really takes is a big heart, a willingness to be authentic, a genuine interest in other people. And the more that you can cultivate that, the more powerful you will become. And I believe it starts with a genuine curiosity about other people, a desire to see the best in them, and a willingness to kind of shut up and get out of the way, because so often our insecurities lead to us talking too much or talking over or one-upping people or doing certain things like that in conversation where we don't give them the opportunity to truly feel heard, and we don't even do it intentionally. We just miss out on that opportunity. And so start with that coffee shop interview. Start with playing around with this genuine interest and this genuine desire to understand what are the needs and the agenda of the other person. And it doesn't mean that you don't have an agenda. We can never not have an agenda in life, but you can suspend that agenda. You can say, I'm going to put my agenda aside and genuinely focus myself on how I can be helpful to the other person. And I can do that for a period of time long enough to diagnose how I can be helpful to them, if I can be helpful to them. And then I just have enough care about other people to say, I'm going to serve the ones that I know I can serve, and I'm not going to do the spaghetti at the wall thing and try to, treat every single person like they're a prospect for my business when they're not ready to hear what I have to hear. So that's the name of the game. I hope you got value out of this. I love connecting with people. I'm really easy to find, so hit me up on Facebook. Feel free to send me an email at adrian@contactmapping.com. Anything that I can do to serve you. If you have questions and you want to take it offline afterwards and just have a little bit more of a dialogue about this, I would love to do that. But I am in your corner. I'm so thankful to get to be a part of this incredible event. Thank you again to Rob and to Courtney and to all the other speakers. I feel like the low man on the totem pole on this stage today, but I'm so thankful for it. And so thank you again. Have a great rest of the day, you guys. Keep taking great notes. Put this stuff into action immediately. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.